My name is Greg Langdale. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Walterboro, with the exception of, the few years in college. Pretty much spent my whole life here in Colleton County. Married to Stacy Fender Langdale. We have 6 kids. 2 of them are already out and married and have their own family started. And we still have 4 that are students here at Colleton Prep. And so she's a teacher here, so we're kind of fully engulfed in Colleton Prep and love it here. A little bit of why I got into coaching. Just like everybody at early age, you love sports, you're passionate about it, you love everything about it, and you love competition. And I was kind of smart enough to realize at an early age, I wasn't going pro. So if I wanted sports to be a part of my life, it was probably going to be in the coaching role. And so I started right out after college, started coaching and really fell in love with it. And, just liked all the things about it, the things that everybody loves about it. Of why you get into it. And, but just basically sports was a big part of my life, and I knew I wanted it to be a big part of my life. And, so I knew coaching would be that route. And after our college and started coaching, just fell in love with it and been doing it since. I could sit here and give you the coach talk about all the stuff that everybody else gives it. And it's coach talk because it's true. When coaches say, they're doing it for all those reasons, they mean it, and I mean it. We're in it. But I think what keeps you passionate is Friday nights. I'll never forget when we were coaching here, I think the first year, and had a young man, John Tomadowski, and every time we would start practice, we'd always stretch and we'd get right into running. And he just one day he shouts out as we're running, "I hate Mondays." And he got to where he was doing it all the time. And I remember one time he did it, and somebody shouted out, and I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was another coach or another player. He hollered out, "I hate Mondays." And somebody said, "But Friday night's coming." And that's so true. When you're passionate about coaching, there's nothing fun about a random Tuesday in the weight room in March. There's nothing fun about film session in April. You have to do them. They're a necessity if you want your programs to be successful, but there's nothing fun about it. Nothing exciting about it. You do it because you're there with the boys and you want them to get better and all that. But what keeps you passionate is Friday nights coming. Those Friday nights in August, September, October, November, they're coming. And if that can't get you excited to coach, it's probably time to get out, because there is nothing like those Friday nights. And you can sit here and it can get boring on Tuesday weight room in March. But if you just know, you know what, Friday night's coming, it'll keep you passionate all year long.
Why did you choose to coach at CPA World?
Yeah, Vernon, the more interesting question people probably want to know is, why did Colleton Prep choose me? And don't ask them, because I might not want to know the answer. But of all the questions you'll ask me tonight or today, this will be the simplest. I chose Colleton Prep simply because Colleton Prep asked me. When you have a school like this, with the academics here, the athletics, the support, the administration, the board, the parents, when you have a school like this and they ask, you don't go weigh your options. Okay, you don't go see what other offers are out there. When they ask, you go. And me and my wife had chose this school for our kids prior to me coming here to coach. So we loved Colleton Prep. We loved every single thing about it. And that's why we chose to put our kids here. So when they came a couple of years later and asked me to come be the football coach, there was no thinking. They asked, I said yes. So that is the simplest question. When Colleton Prep asked, I said yes, because you don't turn that opportunity down.
How do you plan to improve the program that you have now?
Well, I think, you got to be, that's kind of a loaded question, because, if I answer with all these things, people say, well, why didn't you start that year 1, right? But I will answer it this way. I think the way you improve the program starts with the coaches. And it's like I say, I tell the coaches, man, go to clinics, read books, watch videos, talk to other coaches. There's a lot of just great coaches out there who are so willing to share their knowledge. Listen to them, learn from them. I said, and if we as coaches can go out there to clinics and watch videos and read books and do all this stuff, and we can just take what we'll just call nuggets of knowledge and pass it on to our programs. You know, it may be one coach coming and saying, hey, coach, listen, at this clinic, I really picked up something that'll help us in the weight room. And another coach may, hey, I saw this video and I really think it could help us in our speed and agility. And maybe another coach comes and say, hey, listen, I found something that might help us in our Thursday 2-minute offense period that really could help. And the coaches starts with us. We can't quit learning. We have to continue to learn and get better. And that comes through all those things I just mentioned. And then when we learn those things, we pass it on to our players. And we share it with them and we teach it to them. And we take those nuggets of knowledge and pass it on to the players. And maybe it helps them get stronger in the weight room. Maybe it helps them get faster. Maybe it helps them understand how to watch film better. Maybe it just helps them become a better teammate. But we as coaches have to learn to do those things, pass it on to the players, and really help. And that doesn't mean that while we're doing this, we don't stumble across something that is a major thing that we can do in our program to change it. Because if that comes along, we obviously want to do that, anything that'll improve our program. But our main thing is, hey, just do not quit learning, okay? Because the day we think we know it all, it's time to get out of the business. Continue to learn and just get those nuggets of knowledge and pass it on to our players and really help the program. Well, coaching style, I would say, I guess when it comes to style, I've watched a lot of coaches. I love to study other coaches, watch what they do, but I really more or less like to watch their program. What are they doing in their program, and how do they continue to win? And what you'll notice is most of the coaches out there who are really good at it, it's not necessarily the style they play. You have teams win championships, running the option. You have teams that run spread. You have run air raid. You have some that are predominantly a running team. You have some that are built on defense. But what you'll notice, I think, as far as style is they're all disciplined. They don't beat themselves, and they don't turn the football over. And they execute plays perfectly. And I think it was Tom Osborne who said one time, the most overrated thing in football is play calling. But the most underrated thing in football is the execution of each play. And, no coach sits back and, draws up a play and says, that is the perfect play to lose 3 yards. Every play is designed to get yardage. So you've got to execute each play. And I think as far as style goes, you have to know your personnel and know what style fits them. Don't try to beat that square peg into a round hole. If you don't have a team that can play power football, maybe you don't play power football. If you don't have the team that's really fast, maybe you don't try to, sweep outside every play. But you take your team and you fit it in to what they do best. Now, and I know this will sound a little bit contrary to what I just said about the square peg and round hole, but with our style, I will tell the players on this on day one. If you're a lineman or you're a back or you're a receiver and you can't run counter, I don't care if it's GT counter, GH counter, GA counter. If you can't run counter, you need to go over there and practice tackling because you're probably going to be on defense, okay? Because we will run counter and we're going to run it. And at some point in the game, people are going to have to prove they can stop counter. And it feeds so much of our program because then it allows us on offense. If we can run that counter, it allows us so much success on our first, second, third level RPOs. It sets up all of our screens, sets up all of our play action. It sets up everything that we do. And then that allows us to say, okay, this is what we run best. But we're going to run counter. We're going to run the counter, but it feeds everything else, and it gives us so many more options. And then we'll usually adjust. But if you say style, I'm going to say we're going to run spread. But at some point, you're going to have to prove you can stop the run. And so we're spread, but we're not finesse. We're gonna try to run the football at you and come at you. And so but if you said what is your particular style, it's going to be spread, and we're going to try to run the ball at you, and we're going to throw some RPOs and a lot of screens and try to get some play action in there too.
Do you this is I guess a football, I thought about this question.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite play? Like the play that it's kind of how you want to describe it.
Listen, so if you say third and 2, counter's coming. I mean, and I say that, without being too predictable. Obviously during the week we're going to put in a lot of third down packages for, whether it's 3rd and 2, whether it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and we're going to have the plays we want to run on those 3rd downs. But if we're having success running counter, is a high probability you're getting something with counter. Now it may be an RPO off of that counter, or it may be a backside ISO route, built in. A lot of times our quarterback, he goes up there and there's 4 plays going on. We got an RPO to the left, we got a running play called. He has a quarterback read built into every play, and a lot of times we might have an ISO on the backside tagged. So a lot of times he's got 4 options when he goes up there, and but we always tell him, RPO starts with an R. So we're gonna make them run we're gonna run football and see if you can stop us. But but if you just said, hey, it's crunch time, it's 3rd and 2, and we got to have a first down, it's probably counter coming. Well, everything starts with discipline. You got to be disciplined in the classroom. You got to be disciplined on the football field. Everything starts with discipline. So we teach that right out of the gate. If you come here, you better be disciplined. I tell the coach that if the kid's not disciplined, we're not going to put up with it. And the kids know that. And that goes for classroom. That goes for everything. Practice field, classroom, social media, everything. You better be disciplined. Correct. Social media, watch what you put out there. Be disciplined. Be smart, what you put out there. Now, as far as the grades go, every time before school starts, we have a lot of team meetings, but there's one thing I always specially tell the kids, and this is usually right before we start school. I said, there's a reason you're called a student athlete and not an athletic student. Student comes first. Your grades come first, okay? So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what your excuses are if I get something from the headmaster or the teacher that says your grades are low. Okay, there's no excuse. If you're disciplined, you'll get good grades. But there's a reason you are a student athlete, not an athlete student. So grades come first. So we preach that from day one. Now, I will just once again brag on Colleton Prep as far as that goes on the education. That is something that hardly ever gets to my plate. Okay, and I say that because number one, our teachers do an amazing job teaching these kids. And if a kid is struggling, they put them in tutoring. If they are, slacking off on something, they immediately take care of it. They take care of it. But if for some reason it goes higher than that, the administration takes care of it. They're getting them into tutoring. They're getting them into what they need to learn what they're struggling at. And then also, before it ever usually gets to me, the parents know. And they take care of it. The parents do a good job. A lot of times, I'll go to a kid and say, hey, I got this text, this email, or whatever from the school, you're struggling. And their first words, my parents have already taken care of it, coach. Trust me. And so the parents do a great job of making sure the kids' grades are up. So we stress how important it is, but I am so fortunate here that the teachers, the administration, and the parents usually take care of it before it gets to my desk.
What standards would you expect from your football players?
Standards, once again, same thing as far as like the coach taught, we could give you all the standards that everybody expects. And all these programs expect it, because if your program doesn't have those same standards that every program has, you're not going to be successful. Being on time, being in, discipline, all those things. But the main standards that we like to kind of really stress to our guys is kind of this: when you go to bed tonight, number one, are you a better man than you were when you woke up this morning? Okay, and make sure that answer is yes first. Let's start there. When you go to bed tonight, are you a better man than you were when you got up this morning? Number two, are you a better football player than you were when you got up this morning? Did you do something extra in the weight room? Did you do something extra on the agilities? Did you do something extra in film room? Did you do something today that made you a better football player? And if the answer to those two are yes, it's a pretty good day. You've had a pretty good day. And the third thing, standard, that we always preach around here, as far as coaches, administration, no matter what it is, leave it better than you found it. So if you come into this program as a freshman, when you graduate, this program needs to be better than you found it. But that goes for everything. If you go into the weight room, leave it better than you found it. If there was trash on the floor, pick it up. If it needed sweeping, sweep it. If weights needed picked up, pick them up. If you go into the locker room and, hey, a laundry thing needed dumping, go dump it. If trash is somewhere in the floor, pick it up. You know, it doesn't matter. When you go into any of our facilities, anything, leave it better than you found it. And if you do those things, you'll be fine. And I'll tell our boys this all the time. That is not just here. If we go on the road and you go into somebody's locker room, you leave it cleaner than you found it. I better never hear somebody say Colleton Prep left this place a mess. And it's always, to me, it really just, I'm so always proud of the boys after a game or something, and we're getting ready on the bus and you go in and two kids is in the visiting locker room sweeping it. You know, they've got a broom out there sweeping it and say, you guys about ready? And they say, Coach, we're making sure we leave it cleaner than we found it. And so those are the kind of standards we set. And we just feel like if you do those, the little things that take care of themselves, you'll have no problem being on time. If you do those things, you'll have no problem being respectful. They'll take care of themselves. Team unity is important because, I always tell these young men, the closer you are, the harder it is to quit on your friend or your teammate on Friday night. If that's your buddy and you're really close to him, you're not going to quit on him on Friday night. When times get tough, you're going to get after it. And we tell these guys, hey, once the football season ends, hey, do things together. Okay, go to the basketball games together. Go to baseball games together. If you're not playing, go to church together. Go to the river together. Go hunting together. Go to the beach together. Whatever you're doing, guys, get a group of you. Go together. Because the closer y'all bond and you get together, I promise you, the harder it's going to be for you to quit on that guy on Friday night. And, when that guy's your buddy and you can just tell, man, he's getting whipped over there tonight. He's getting whipped. You're going to come to his rescue, because that's your buddy. And, but show unity, do it all together, and, just become a team. And that doesn't always happen during a season. A lot of times that happens off season. So we really just stress that to, do things together, hang out, just be friends.
How important is parent and community support?
With the programs, like especially in our school, without it would be hard for them to survive. And I'll start first by answering that question in community. And I'll say, Walterboro is such a great town. So supportive. I mean, I go out as coach and as athletic director, and I will go to businesses. And there's so many business owners out there, and people who have zero ties to Colleton Prep. They didn't go to school here. They don't have a kid here. They don't have zero ties, but they'll support us. Whether it's opening their checkbook and supporting us financially, whether it's, hey, we'll provide a meal for your team, whether it's the churches who offer their devotional meals and our team meals on Thursday, just the town of Walterboro businesses and churches and things like that do so much support for us. And I guess the question is, they don't have ties here. They just do it because they're great people and they're great business owners and things like that. And they just really help us. And without that support, I mean, that's where, we get a lot of our financial support, a lot of our meals, things like that, and really just so thankful for them. But also, the other support comes from let's just call them, I guess, alumni. They got people who do have ties here. Maybe they went here, they have kids here, maybe not involved in sports. But there's so many people out there who all you got to do is pick up the phone. Hey, this broke. Can you come fix it? Be there in 20 minutes, coach. Things like that. People who just give to us, whether it's their time, whether it's their skills, whether it's their money, that they don't have to. They just do it because the support that we get from the community and from our alumni, from our administration, from our board members. I mean, you can just send something to the board members or administration, hey, we need this, and it's usually taken care of. And you go there. Now, the support of the parents, I would say that anything I ask for, they do, but that's not 100% correct because usually they do it before I ask. It's amazing. I mean, football season ended last year, and within the next week, parents come to me, Coach, whatever it may be, I got that taken care of for next year. Hey, Coach, I'm going to take charge of that next year. Whether it's doing meals, whether it's doing chains, whether it's doing uniform stuff, the parents, that's what I say. Most time I don't even have to ask. They just do it. And there's some things you forget about and, maybe the parents forget about, and all it takes is one message in a group text. Hey, parents, man, can anybody do this? And usually within 5 minutes, it's taken care of. They got it. So the parents here are just unreal. And, I've been fortunate, just most schools that I've been at, the parents are great. And, but here it's unbelievable the support that they give to see these programs, and not just football, all the programs, but especially in football, they're constantly, I'll get texts all the time, emails, Coach, do you need anything? They're not asking anything specific. What do you need? We'll get it. And the parents, just unbelievable. And I don't know if they realize how important it is, but they are so important, and they over succeed in the job they do. Well, I wish I could come here and give you a message full of a bunch of promises. I wish I could say, hey, I promise you a state championship next year. I promise you a region championship. I promise you an undefeated season. I really do wish, because our supporters are so great, I really wish I could make those promises. But everybody knows you can't make those promises. We don't even have our schedule yet, so we don't even know what it might be. So you can't make those promises. But to our supporters, what I will promise you is when you come here to support us, or when you open your checkbooks, or you give your time, or you just come buy a ticket and sit in the stands and you come to support Warhawks, the promise I make you is you will have a team you're proud of. Regardless of what happens on Friday night, you will be proud of that team. They will play hard. They will give you everything they got. They will represent that Warhawk to the point you will be proud. They will be the type of team you can go to work the next week and talk about and be proud to talk about it. But I promise you, those are the promises I can make you. They will play hard. They will give you everything they got, and they will make you proud. And they will not do anything, hopefully, that's going to embarrass that name. But I do promise you, they will play hard, and they will be a team you're proud of.
What challenges do you expect this season?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Even as of right now, probably 75% of the challenges we're going to face, we don't even know what they are yet. You're going to have a player hurt. You're going to have players get sick. You might have a bus breakdown on the way to pick you up to go to a game, and you're running late. You might have, anything could happen. Things could happen in players' families, or maybe they have to miss a game or something. You're going to have so many challenges that we do not know what they're going to be at this point. But what I will address is, so maybe some of the challenges that we do know that we're going to have to face. And, one of those, and I'll start right out of the obvious, is the senior class that we've got to replace. There wasn't many of them. There were 6 seniors, but replacing them, they're walking out of here I believe tied with the 2003 team, if I do remember, as the most regular season wins ever for a senior class over their 4-year career. So that's a lot of wins walking out of that door. And I think they were third all-time wins, including playoffs. So that's a senior class who played for 2 state championships. That's a senior class who, I believe it was 38 regular season games they won over their 4-year career. So that's a lot of wins. That's a lot of experiences walking out that door. And, so that's going to be a challenge to replace those. Several of those were across the offensive line. That's where we probably lost our biggest, group of seniors. And, so we're going to have to replace those. And we're going to have to find a way. And that's going to be a big challenge to do that.
What position was those? The ones that you lost?
Well, the seniors we lost were across the offensive line. Stephen, they'll graduate this year. Stephen Crosby, Grayson Catterton, and, Grayson Martin. We're all seniors. And, unfortunately for Grayson Martin, he got hurt earlier in the year and was kind of banged up most of the year. But, we lose those 3 across the offensive line. And then we also lose our running back, Tanner Wolf, who, this was his first year playing running back. Stepped in and did a really good job there this year for us. So we'll have to replace him. And, so offensively, we'll lose those really 3 starters, and we'll have to find a way to replace them. And then, defensively, we'll be losing, Jack Broderick over there, Braden Hires over there on defense, and losing some of those guys, those seniors, and like I say, that's a lot of experience. A lot of those seniors were 2- and 3-year starters, and and they're coming back. So we'll have a challenge. We got a lot of guys coming back. I think at the end of the year, I think 17 of our 22 starters are coming back. A couple of those are 2-way players, but in our 22 starting, offense, defense, I think 17 of them are returning this year. So we have a lot of experience coming back that hopefully we can, take that challenge head on and be able to, get some players also coming up from JV to step in those roles. But, that'll probably be our biggest challenge, replacing that senior class.
Well, stepping into these new roles?
Yes. Let's start with running back. Tanner Wolf, stepped into there this year and played it as a senior. That is the position right now that I'm going to say is probably wide open. Spring practice will tell a lot at that position. We have several guys, couple that were, on the team last year in the backup roles, and then a couple coming up from the JV team, who I know are all going to want that spot, and they're going to be fighting for it. So I'm really excited about spring practice this year because I really think we're going to have 4 to 5 guys really fighting for that spot. Like I said, a couple of them coming up off JV, a couple of them that were in the backup role last year. But that one is the one that I'll say is getting pretty wide open. I mean, it's going to be who wants it and who's going to get after it there. On the offensive line, we got several pretty good guys coming up from JV, and they'll be sophomores next year. And I want to say on our JV line last year, we had 4 freshmen that started. So all 4 of those will be sophomores. So they'll come up there and they'll get right into the mix. We also last year played about 7 linemen during the year due to some injuries and things like that. So, out of those 7, only 3 were seniors. So 4 of those are going to be, coming back, battling, trying to get some playing time. But we definitely feel we've got the players coming up to replace them. But I can't give you names right now because those jobs are, they're wide open, and it's going to be who wants it, and it ain't going to be who wants it. It's like I told the boys, it ain't going to be who wants it on July 23rd or whatever it is when we start. It's going to be who wants it like now in the weight room and in the film rooms and studying and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to see who wants those positions. We got guys that can fill them. We're just going to see who steps up and takes them. In the last 4 years, we've lost 2 state championships. So hopefully, in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll be saying we've won a few of those state championships. So hopefully we can get over that little hump and maybe win some of these state championships. But And I kind of feel we're getting there now. I really do. We're getting there now. But I've always said one of the best compliments that I can ever give another coach and another program is when somebody asks me, well, how many seniors did they lose, or how many players, did they lose, or whatever. The greatest compliment I can give another coach or another program is it don't matter. They're a good program. They're going to be good. And I hope that like I say, I think we're getting there now. I hope we're getting there now. But I hope that over the next few years that we are the type of program where other coaches say it doesn't matter who they lost. They're going to be good. I promise you, they're going to be good. They're going to be a 8, 9, 10, 11 win season. They're going to be good. And that doesn't mean that you can't have great players that are hard to replace, because we have over the years, and we got some like right now that are really good. And next year and the following year, they're going to be hard to replace. But I want that program to be at a point where other coaches just say, it don't matter who they lost. Don't worry about who they lost. I promise you, Colleton Prep will be good. And that's where I hope we're at in 3 to 5 years. Well, once again, like I say, me and my wife chose Colleton Prep because we think this is just an unbelievable school. And like I say, we chose this school before we were here as a coach and even a teacher as she is now. We love this school, and we love Warhawk football. There's nothing better for us on Friday nights. There's nothing better on Friday mornings, waking up and all my little daughters is putting on their Weehawk outfits. My older daughter, getting ready to go cheer, and next year, my son putting on that football uniform he'll be his first year on varsity, and just the whole Friday morning experience around our house and getting ready for Friday night, and then to get here on Friday nights. There's nothing better than Friday night football at Colleton Prep. This environment here I constantly have other coaches say, I love playing at y'all's place because that is an unbelievable environment. And it is. I mean, we play in games and it's standing room only. I mean, they're 4 or 5 deep around the fences and in the end zones. And it's just an unbelievable, environment. And it's a tough place to play. For an opponent to come in here because of the environment we have and the atmosphere we have, I think Colleton Prep football's been around over 50 years, and we've lost one home playoff game in all those years. This is a tough place to play, and it's because of our supporters. It's because of our administration, everybody who gives athletics what they need to be successful. And like I say, for us here and for me, there's just no better place to be on a Friday night than Colleton Prep, out there on, Joe Willie Stadium, and those fireworks are going off, and those Weehawks are all 150 of them are out there, and all those cheerleaders and the alumni, and everybody's going crazy, and it's just an unbelievable. And it goes back to that earlier question: what keeps you passionate? Those Friday nights. When you're just sitting here on a day in March and you start thinking about those Friday nights, you get excited because there's nothing better than Colleton Prep football. And I just hope that I can do for Colleton Prep what Colleton Prep does for me. Just as far as what this school, this program, and everything does for me, to allow me to be here and be the coach. I just hope that in some way I can give back to this program what they give to me, and just go out there and put teams on the field that this school can be proud of, and then hopefully put young men out there in the world that we're proud to say they're Warhawks. That they played football here, they were students here. And just they represent that Warhawk name 20 years from now, 30 years from now. They represent, what that Warhawk name is. But just Colleton Prep, just for those Friday nights, means so much, and we just love it.